how to build a sales funnel to attract dream clients.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me rant about my favorite topic, sales funnels.
Tell our audience a bit about yourself and your experience on this topic.
Well, here's my origin story, and my career very much started in sales. So cold calling, calling agency leads, calling ebook leads, telco sales, all that sort of stuff that puts hairs on your chest. And eventually I ended up in the world of digital agencies and direct response copy. So I worked in one of Australia's biggest agencies. And by the time I wrapped up there and built a team up from scratch in sales funnels and conversions, I'd worked on over 400 different clients, landing pages and funnels, right? So everything from Brazilian butt lift doctors, porn addiction counselors, and then to more of your normal end like banks and home builders. And after that, I worked in another company building out the same team called Founder. So doing courses, 7, 8, 9-figure courses. And about a year ago, maybe 18 months, my co-founder and I started Persuasion experience. And we focus solely on the post-click experience and finding the hidden revenue in your customer experience that a lot of especially small business owners just don't even know to look out for. Those different leaks that tend to lose them revenue without them even knowing.
And so what sort of leaks are they that you refer to? Sort of.
Yes. So let's start at the beginning and just a bit of foundational information. And so a lot of the time people think of a funnel or a sales funnel. And if they even know what it is, they often think it's optional, right? And so they might Google something like, is a sales funnel worth it? Should I do a sales funnel? And the thing to remember is that a sales funnel is not optional. If you have a business, you have a funnel, because all a funnel is and how you should think about it is it's every single touch point that somebody has with your brand. So when they fill in a form, when they talk to somebody for the first time, when they onboard, when you ascend them and upsell them into new products, all of these little touch points in that whole journey, you can think of it as the before, during, and the after. They're all the touch points. And so what most people and businesses haven't done, doesn't matter if you're a $1 billion tech company or mum and dad, I'm trying to think, engineering business or something, it doesn't matter. Nobody has actually mapped out all of these touch points. And what happens is you start to leak revenue because you haven't optimized this experience. So where most people should focus on is their acquisition. So getting the lead first, right? There's more that happens after that in your funnel, like activation, how to turn that lead into a sale. Then there's retention and referral and revenue. These are all the different parts of your funnel. But where we should focus on, because most people haven't got this down pat, is the acquisition part of the funnel. And so these touch points are, where do people find you? So where do you play? And that is the different channels or the traffic. And when I work with small businesses, a lot of them think they need to try and keep up with big companies spending really big budgets and playing on Facebook and Google ads. But the reality is you don't need to do that. We don't always have the same budgets as these bigger companies. So as an example, in our first year of business, we focused very much on organic social, but strategic partnerships. And through organic social and strategic partnerships, no ads, we were able to make our first $500,000 as a basically two freelancers sticky tape together company, right? As a marketing agency. And so that's the first touch point in this acquisition. So how do you get the lead? Because nothing happens until you get the lead, is where are you going to operate? So thinking about where is your audience, who's an underserved niche, and how can you start that conversation? Those are the first things that we will usually focus on with our clients. The biggest downfall of any business out of nearly 500 now that I've worked with, right, is they lead their marketing with I thinks and assumptions. And when I talk to a CEO or a founder or an owner or a marketing manager, I'll ask them, can you give me the names of 10 clients or customers, 50 clients or customers? And often they can't. And what we need to understand if we want our marketing to win is, in the words of the target market, how do they describe their problems? How do they describe their dream outcomes? How do they describe their pains, their fears, their hopes, their dreams in their words? Because if you're going out to market and you're using internal jargon and you're trying to cram down everybody's throat what you want them to hear, yeah, because what they want to hear and what they need to hear are two different things. So you need to understand the conversation that you're entering where they are in that buyer's journey, because nobody just wakes up one day and thinks, gee whiz, I'd like a marketing funnel. Let me tell you that. Nobody wakes up and thinks that. There's a series of pain points and issues and conversations that happen in their mind and internally in the business before they make that decision. So that was my long-winded way of saying, yes, you need to understand your target market and you need to get customer obsessed. You as a business exist to serve people. That's it. You sell an outcome. If you're a dentist, you don't sell teeth whitening, you sell a beautiful smile, right? And so the number one question, or the number one thing probably people could get out of this episode today, is to go and think, what am I really selling? And then that will start to unlock a lot of your marketing messaging. And you need to be an authority, right? So one of the things that we've done somewhat kicking and screaming is building up our content and building up our personal profile, because it does reduce price resistance and you get better quality clients, whatever. But you need to remember, when you're doing your marketing, you have to answer, what's in it for me? And that's from the prospect's point of view. So some people will spew features and they'll say, blah, 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 this is how great we are, this is what we do. So what? Who cares? What's in it for me? If you're not connecting those to a benefit and then contextualizing how that makes that person's life better. So for example, we build sales funnels, like, so what, who cares, what's in it for me? So you can create a predictable, scalable stream of leads and sales. Okay, how can you contextualize that? Imagine if you woke up every morning and your sales team calendars were booked with highly qualified leads, and you didn't have your sales team complaining that they never had high quality leads, or that there wasn't enough leads. So that's an example of how you do that. And that's the thing, right? When it comes to lead generation, there's two levers you can pull: quality and quantity. And it's not mutually exclusive, but you do have to think, do you have a hungry sales team with nothing going on and they just have to work the list a little bit more? Or do you just want to go after enterprise whale clients and you need to highly qualify them? So it is figuring out and making sure marketing and sales is on the same page about what makes a high quality lead, right? Because there's a lot of this internal jargon that we use as marketers or as sales teams, but often people aren't on the same page because it's not standardized. So you do have to get on the same page of what makes a high quality lead across your company as well, no matter how big or small you are.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for our listeners, what's, say, a couple of main things they can sort of do to sort of start this journey, I guess, with their sales funnel?
Yeah. Number one is send out a survey. So step one, send out a survey to past customers or clients. And if you have a segment in your list, people who have never bought from you before. Now there's more questions and instructions than I can explain on this. But one of the questions that you can ask is, what were you trying to solve when you came to us? How would you describe business X to a friend? What other things have you tried in the past? And that's going to help you to start painting a much clearer picture of who you're serving and the problem that they're trying to solve. After you've done that, if you can then create your core brand messaging, so who we serve, what we do, and the transformation it gives. That's it. If you can, and it takes longer than that, right? I spent a couple of days the other day redoing it. It sounds simple. It's not, trust me. But if you can do that and then make sure your whole company's on the same page about who you serve and how you do it and that messaging, and then just create a game plan. Sit down and think, okay, what's our goal? Where do we want to play? So what's going to be our channel strategy? Don't overcook it. Just choose 2 or 3 strategies that you want to get, channels that you want to get right. Think about what capabilities you already have internally that you want to leverage, and then the projects and the systems that you'll need to create to support that goal, right? So that's creating the strategy that you can then follow throughout the quarter and the year. A great book you can read is Playing to Win. So that's a good reference if you want to start somewhere.
Yes, I've actually, I haven't read it, but I have heard about that book before, so I might add that to my reading list. So
yes, it's great.
Yeah, that's good. So what, can you sort of give us a story and an example of a sort of a small business you've worked with in this context?
Yes, let me have a think. So it depends like what what was the goal, or what was something that somebody wanted to achieve, right? But let's start with a tech startup that we worked with, and they were going against a big behemoth in the industry. They knew they had a better product, but they didn't really know how to explain it better. And they basically were going against ShareSite, which is a portfolio tracking software. They surveyed their audience, or their customers. I always say audience, like I'm on a game show. They surveyed their customers with us. And then we started to see, wow, this is actually what people want. We redid their landing page to be more of a sales page with a stronger offer. We call it a golden hippo offer, right? Where it was like, holy hell, that value is so irresistible. It was all in their words. There was social proof that helped to obliterate objections and to show what kind of people used it, to resonate with the people looking at the page. And then that was able to double their user base on their page. As another example, we worked with a business coach. This is more of a lead generation example, right? And if you know much about business coaching, for anyone listening, people are highly skeptical, right? There's a lot of people who have never run a business being business coaches out there, and are not very good. And a lot of people have either been burnt before, or they've heard horror stories. So there's a lot of that surrounding it. With this client, we surveyed his customers, and what came back was these common words and phrases. I need focus. I don't know where to focus. Where should I focus? What should I focus on? And we got that across, maybe 50 different people in different ways they were saying that. And then that helped us to construct our offer of a focus finder session. Have a free 30-minute focus finder session, and I'll show you where to focus in 2022. This was a last year campaign. And how to be more profitable. And there was something else without wasting time. There was some like sub key messages in there as well. And that helped him to increase his leads, but also get higher quality leads, because these were committed leads that actually wanted to take action, instead of the leads that were just sort of randomly fumbling through his website. These people knew why they wanted to get on a call. They were excited because they knew the value that they were going to get. And it totally shifted it from a stinky sales call where you have commission breath and you're all desperate and you want the call and you want to close the sale, to I want to get on this call. I'm going to make sure I rock up because I know I'm going to come off more valuable after this than what I went in. And so that's a couple of examples where it all starts from that understanding that target market, and then you can create that offer, that messaging that's going to really talk to them and stand out from the noise in the market.
Yeah, that's really good insight. And so it's all about obviously listening to your sort of clients as to, I guess, what they've experienced in the past and what they're after, rather than just assume, because I guess many business owners, and we can just assume what we think the client wants, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if your marketing is led by assumptions, you'll usually be pretty disappointed. If you're like, oh, I think the market wants this. I'm like, do you? Yeah. Why do you think that? Like, you think that because that's what you think, but in pretty much 100% of the cases, you're not the target market, and you have the curse of knowledge. You're too educated to think like the target market. You've been doing this for years. So the things that you think are duh, or the knowledge that you take for granted, you forget that the prospect or the potential customer is so much earlier in their buyer's journey, right? They don't know what you know. And so if you even assume that you think like the target market, you are grossly wrong.
Yes, I guess it's that bias that we can all have, I guess. And so what I'm hearing loud and clear is certainly survey and talk to your customers, and never assume, right?
Yes, exactly. Don't assume what they want or what they think. It's very easy to talk to them. And if you ethically bribe them, you can get answers out of them. But a lot of people are gagging to give you feedback and to tell you what they think, right? Sometimes you just need to ask.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah.
And I like the fact you mentioned earlier about keeping it simple. So just in sort of the going about building your sales funnel, and particularly in small business, I think that's so critical. So is there anything you'd like to sort of maybe share further on that sort of part to your sort of approach?
So I think sometimes people learn about funnels and then I go off on a bit of a rant and talk about all these things you should be doing. And then it can feel quite overwhelming, right? Like, oh my gosh, we don't have a clear avatar. We don't have this. And it's like, where do I start? And what's the thing? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So it's like, okay, let's get clear on the target market. As soon as you do that, automatically, like, you're successful. If you're in business, you're doing something right. So all we're trying to do is refine this and find ways to improve. So start with the target market and then start educating yourself. If you're serious about winning at business and not just rocking up to play, right? Like, not just rocking up to be there, but you're serious and you want to learn, it's your like responsibility as a business owner to better yourself and to learn. It is what it is. Like, if you brush your hands and say, oh, I'm not very good at marketing, well, like, poo-poo to you, because you should be. You're a business owner and you're in the business of marketing, whether you like it or not. If you can't market your business, it will fail. It doesn't matter if you have the best product or service. It just won't win without good marketing, because nobody will know, right? And so if you do want to learn more, I put out heaps of free information on my LinkedIn and my YouTube to help small businesses like yourself. Like, if you want to learn exactly how I do a sales funnel, I've made a 1-hour masterclass, and you can go through messaging, positioning, how to map out the funnel, how to make a lead magnet, how to build your pipeline, all of these things. The information is out there. You're just not looking for it. And you can solve those problems.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I totally agree with you. As a business owner, you've got to be very much focused on marketing and obviously a lot of the time utilising the services of someone like yourself, right? So, but ultimately you're responsible for it. So, however you go about it, you need to be very focused on it. So some really great insights and tips for our listeners, Alicia. So, just in closing, what's at least one thing you would recommend a small business owner does, based on your knowledge and expertise?
The one thing that they should do, well, I won't make it funnel focused because I spoke about that for 20 minutes. What I will say is, don't forget the little things that made you successful. So a lot of the times I see people, they start getting success, maybe ego gets in the way, maybe it's incremental degradation, and they stop doing those little things that compounded and made them successful. So what you should always be doing is ship, analyze, adjust, and make sure that those little activities or routines or outputs that were getting you that success, maybe in your early days that you might have forgot about, go back to that, go back to the basics, because it's usually just repeating the unsexy basics that gets us the results.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. So, well, thanks very much for your time today, Alicia. I think our audience will get a great deal of value out of the conversation and those few tips you gave us.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.